Welcome back to the Wendy's Boys Tournament Tip-Off Show presented by your local Pick and Save stores. I'm Mike McGivern alongside Coach Paul Wollersheim from Martin Luther. So I said 4 teams from our area. You know those districts. Neenah's not quite in our area, but Lee Rabbis is a guy that you and I have known a long time. Got a lot of respect for the job that Lee has done up at Neenah.
Yeah, I mean, he's his first year of high school coaching back in 1998 at Appleton Xavier. We met up against my Dominican team against Appleton Xavier in the state championship game, and then he was there for a while. He did some work in college, and then came back to Neenah, and just a ton of respect. You watch his teams play, you see the precision that they play with, how they execute their game plan. It just really does a great job.
Yeah, 21-7 overall. And, you know, looking at that roster, Coach, they've got some guys that can score the ball. They don't have a lot of size. And when you look at their roster and there are 5 guys that are leading them, 6'1", 6'2", and then some 5'10" kids. And I think when you play against Arrowhead, and that's who they start with, 6:35 tomorrow night on My 24, Arrowhead against Neenah, they're going to have their hands full with Chase Gilbert. He is a 6'5" senior going to Iowa State to play football, but you and I both have watched him play. He's a handful.
He's a football player. He's a mountain of a man. Even if you have a big team, he's difficult to stop. Not for what he just can do on his own, but what he helps create for the rest of the team. And it seems like everything for Arrowhead kind of runs through him.
And he's a football player who has great hands. Now he's a defensive lineman. And that's what he's going to go play at Iowa State. And he has great hands, and he finishes. He doesn't shoot the ball deep, but he can finish around the basket, and he tips a lot of rebounds. His timing is really good. Their guard, senior guard, Bennett Bash, he had 43 or 44 against De Pere in the sectional finals. And talking to Coach Hazy, he said, look, I love this kid, and maybe I'm too close, but I don't know how he didn't make it into the Final Six for Mr. Basketball. He does so much for our team. He scores, he defends. He's averaging 20 a game. He's going up to Green Bay, and he's a Division I basketball player, 6'4". He's got a freshman brother who gets some playing time. And I asked Ben, who's a better shooter? He said, I am, but don't ask my younger brother. He might give you a different story. But those two seniors are the guys that Coach Hazy really kind of they go through those 2 guys. And on the defensive end, I think Gilbert just gives those guards the option to be able to go out and really pressure the ball, knowing that he's behind them to help them if they get beat off the dribble.
Right. I mean, he gives you a lot of options defensively. What you want to do if you want to get out there, pressure, deny things. You know, it's comforting knowing you have the big guy back there to wall off the basket and protect the rim for you. And it's just you watch them play. They've played. They're battle tested. They've played a really difficult schedule, and they're just and that's kind of the theme throughout this D1 tournament. They're a tough-minded team. Yeah. You can just see it.
And you look at the coaching matchup between Arrowhead and Neenah. We talked about Coach Rabbis and the amount of respect we have for them. Craig Hazy's been at Arrowhead 24 years.
Right.
26-2 this year. I remember talking to him last year, and he said, people we're graduating our best player, but we're going to be really good next year. And I said, really? And he said, don't sleep on us. And I said, you got it. And as a team, they have been ranked 2 or 3 in Division I throughout the state, throughout the year in the coaches poll. And it was them and De Pere. And I talked to Craig the night before they played De Pere, and he said, boy, do I like our chances. I just like our chances. And they went up and beat the number 1 team, defending Division I state champions. And now they've got a chance to play Neenah. Again, starts 6:35 tomorrow night, only here on My 24 in this area. The winner of that game will play the winner of the Marquette Kettle Moraine game. Marquette I've seen, Kettle Moraine I've seen. And that game is again, 2 veteran coaches, and it's going to be an awfully good game. Marquette I saw against Arrowhead, and 10 seniors on that team, Coach, which is different. You don't see that on rosters much anymore. And the reason is because seniors, if you're not going to get a ton of playing time, don't want to put in the work. And I asked Casey about that, and he said our guys all know their roles. And we've got guys that get very little playing time that practice harder than anybody at practice to get our starters better. And when you talk about that Marquette team, Menesali is a guy that you got to start with. He's going to St. Thomas. He gets to the basket. He can shoot the ball. He's a matchup nightmare for teams.
Right. They've played a really difficult schedule, the same as all these teams have. And to win the Greater Metro Conference, that right there is maybe the toughest conference in the state. And they're like you said, 10 seniors. That's a credit to those seniors. It's 100%. A credit to the coaching staff, and the program and the culture that you cultivate. The fact that these guys all have, whether they're playing 0 minutes or like Nolan Menesali, he's in the game the whole time. The fact that they're all on the same page, a lot of credit to the culture that Casey's created down there at Marquette.
100%. Brian Rickard, first-year coach at Kettle Moraine, but he's been a coach in our area for a really long time. 25-3 overall. What's impressive to me about that is Drew Wagner was their best player last year when they got to state. Got injured in football. He's now going to Northwestern to play football. And he's been out all year. And they've continued to do what they did last year. Even though a new coach, they continue to win in a really good conference, took second in the Classic 8 behind Arrowhead. 25-3 overall, and they start with Will Stuckey, 6'1" senior, averaging 18 a game. But boy, there's a number of guys that do really well for them. And Ben Bester is, I like him. He's a 6-foot junior. His stats aren't great. He averages 8 a game, something like that. But boy, oh boy, watching him play, he's got the toughness like his family, big basketball family. And his dad's an assistant or JV coach out of Kettle Moraine, used to be the head coach there, right. And I like watching him play.
Yeah, and that's great bloodlines there. Brad was a great player in high school and college, and just a really good, solid player. It's fun to watch coaches' kids play. And they've got they've got the standout starter. What's interesting is they replaced all their starters.
Correct.
So there's a real credit to the Kettle Moraine program out there that Brian Rickard took over. I mean, the fact that you can step in as a first-year coach, and a lot of times it's like, hey, we've got it. It's going to take a while till they get used to what we're doing. What we do as a staff, but that program out there, he's able to step in and just jump right on, and they haven't missed a beat this season.
Right, and he was an assistant last year with Coach Hughes and stepped in as the head coach. That matchup between Marquette and Kettle Moraine, I don't have a dog in the fight, but I saw the Arrowhead Marquette the first time that they played this year, and I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch because that game was so good. But any of these teams.
Yeah, flip a coin between 2 and 3 seed Kettle Moraine and Marquette. And, Kettle Moraine gave Arrowhead one of their losses this year.
Right.
So it's really a great field.
It is. It definitely is. And it starts again tomorrow night, 6:35 here on My 24. We're going to get to a break. I'm going to ask you for some predictions. And I'll just tee you up on those. Let you be the bad cop. I'll be the good cop. This is the Wendy's Boys Tournament Tip-Off Show, presented by your local Pick and Save stores, only on My 24.